1974 brought one of the funniest films ever made by Warner Brothers. Focusing on the rise of a black sheriff in the American West of 1874, Blazing Saddles is widely regarded as the most audacious comedy of Mel Brooks's directorial career, a subversive, fearless satire bent on tackling the ever-present absurdity of prejudice. It has maintained an impressive and growing fan base more than 4 decades later. Here are hidden facts about Blazing Saddles: an unlikely appearance. While movie premieres typically unfold with glitz and glamour, featuring celebrities in lavish attire and arriving in sleek vehicles, the premiere of Blazing Saddles opted for a uniquely fitting approach. In a departure from the norm, attendees embraced the film's Wild West theme by making a memorable entrance on horseback. This unconventional twist not only added a touch of authenticity to the event, but also set the tone for the comedic masterpiece that awaited them on the big screen. The decision to eschew traditional glamour for a cowboy-inspired entrance showcased the film's commitment to its theme and left a lasting impression on the audience, making the premiere of Blazing Saddles a standout cinematic event. Whatever helps you sleep at night. The clash between Mel Brooks and Warner Brothers reached a pivotal moment after a screening of Blazing Saddles for Chief Executive Ted Ashley. Unhappy with certain elements, Ashley confronted Brooks with a list of demands, sternly instructing him to remove specific scenes, including the use of a racial slur, the infamous bean scene, a horse being punched, the character Lily Von Stoop, and the line uttered by the black sheriff, "You're sucking my arm," or something similar. Brooks, known for his quick wit, nonchalantly responded, "Great, they're all out," creating an illusion of compliance. However, instead of adhering to the directives, Brooks decided to take a rebellious stance. Rather than eliminating the contested elements, he discarded all the notes, defying the studio's demands and asserting his creative vision for the film. Down you go. One of the unforgettable moments from Blazing Saddles involves the imposing character Mongo brazenly parking his horse in a designated no-parking zone. This leads to a confrontation with another horse rider, and without a moment's hesitation, Mongo casually approaches the horse and delivers a forceful blow, sending both the rider and the horse tumbling to the ground. Interestingly, this scene wasn't a mere product of Mel Brooks' creative whimsy. It had roots in a real-life anecdote he heard from his former boss, Sid Caesar. Brooks, drawing from personal experiences and humorous tales, infused the film with a blend of satire and genuine inspiration, making Blazing Saddles not only a riotous comedy, but also a homage to the quirks of reality that shaped its narrative. Poor taste. While many found Mongo's knockout punch scene in Blazing Saddles uproariously funny, not everyone shared the same sentiment. Some viewers, particularly animal rights activists, deemed the scene inappropriate due to its portrayal of violence against a horse. Despite the fact that no horses were harmed during the filming, the outrage stemmed from the perceived insensitivity toward animal welfare. Critics argued that a less violent scenario could have been created, one that wouldn't potentially influence others negatively, as depicted in the film. It's worth noting, however, that the filmmakers were meticulous in their approach to ensure the safety of the animals involved. Trained horses were employed, capable of executing falls on command, eliminating the need for any harm to befall them during the production of the scene. Getting the boot. In the initial stages of filming Blazing Saddles, the character of the Waco Kid was portrayed by Gig Young. One of the eerie sequences captured on film involved the Waco Kid hanging from his bunk, inebriated and berating Bart. Observing Young's performance in these scenes might lead one to believe that he was a remarkable actor for convincingly depicting intoxication. However, the reality was quite different. Young was genuinely inebriated to the extent that production had to come to a halt. This led to Gig Young being removed from the project, and Gene Wilder was brought in as his replacement. Years later, Gig Young took legal action against the studio, filing a lawsuit citing a breach of contract related to his dismissal from the film. A Night with the Stars. In the realm of comedy, where cowboys' flatulence took center stage, some actors went to great lengths to immerse themselves in their roles. Slim Pickens, known for his role as Taggart, the menacing gang leader in Blazing Saddles, was among those who took his character seriously. To truly embody the persona of Taggart, Slim Pickens adopted a unique approach. He decided to live the cowboy lifestyle. This commitment went beyond mere on-set performance. Pickens took to sleeping outdoors, mirroring the existence of a genuine cowboy. What set his dedication apart was the fact that he didn't just sleep under the open sky, he did so with his Winchester rifle at his side, a constant reminder of his character's outlaw nature. This level of commitment showcased Slim Pickens' dedication to his craft, adding an authentic touch to his portrayal of Taggart in the comedic western. The movie was originally going to be entitled Tex X, an homage to Malcolm X. Choosing the right title for a film can be a challenging task, and Mel Brooks, the director of Blazing Saddles, experienced this dilemma firsthand. Before settling on the iconic name we know today, Brooks encountered several rejected titles, including Black Bart and The Purple Sage. Upon accepting the role of director, Brooks found himself in a quest for the perfect title that would encapsulate the spirit of his comedic masterpiece. Despite the initial setbacks and rejected options, inspiration struck at an unexpected moment while he was taking a shower. It was during this seemingly mundane activity that the name Blazing Saddles emerged in Brooks's mind. Mel Brooks's wife, too, shared in his enthusiasm, cementing the title as the perfect encapsulation of the movie's irreverent humor and satirical brilliance. Reach for the Sky. Sheriff Bart, the central character in Blazing Saddles, faced an unexpected challenge in gaining acceptance from the townspeople. Astonishingly, to secure his release, Bart resorts to holding a gun to his own head. This unique twist in the narrative wasn't a whimsical addition by Mel Brooks. Instead, it stemmed from a childhood incident that left a lasting impression on the acclaimed director. In a glimpse into Mel Brooks' early years, he recounts a mischievous act from his youth. A young Mel attempted to pilfer a water pistol and a pack of gum from a local store. When the vigilant clerk intervened, little Mel responded in a way that would later become a pivotal plot element in Blazing Saddles. With a makeshift gun in hand, he pointed it at the clerk, issuing a playful but potent threat to pull the trigger. A room full of crickets. Warner Brothers, drawing on their belief in Mel Brooks's ability to recreate the enchantment of his earlier success, the producers eagerly anticipated the release of Blazing Saddles. However, initial screenings of the film did not unfold as expected. Studio executives were disheartened by the early reviews, expressing concerns over the perceived lack of humor in the movie. Despite their reservations, Mel Brooks remained unwavering in his confidence that the film held great potential and that it simply needed to be presented to the public. In the face of studio skepticism, Brooks ardently lobbied for the film, convinced that once it reached a wider audience, opinions would shift. After persistent efforts, Warner Brothers eventually gave their consent to release the movie. Surprisingly, the early apprehensions of the studio were proven wrong. Blazing Saddles emerged as a comedic triumph, defying initial doubts and becoming one of Warner Brothers' biggest blockbusters. The film's success showcased Mel Brooks's keen understanding of humor and his ability to connect with audiences on a grand scale. A stingy studio. In the lead-up to the film's release, Mel Brooks faced a significant challenge in persuading the studio to recognize the untapped potential of Blazing Saddles. The head of distribution expressed reservations, deeming the movie simply too vulgar for the American people, and suggesting that it should be abandoned with a financial loss. In a pivotal moment, the studio president, John Calais, stepped in with an alternative strategy. Calais decided to release the movie initially in select cities, strategically choosing locations like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. This cautious approach allowed the studio to test the waters and gauge the audience's response in specific markets. To everyone's surprise, by the end of the summer, Blazing Saddles had defied the earlier concerns and emerged as the studio's biggest blockbuster. The success of the film not only silenced initial doubts, but also solidified Mel Brooks's reputation as a master of comedy, bringing in a comedic genius, while juggling the demands of crafting the screenplay for Blazing Saddles. Mel Brooks found himself immersed in another creative endeavor, developing a television show titled Your Show of Shows. The inspiration for this new project struck Brooks during his stay in New York, where he had the chance to witness Richard Pryor's electrifying performance at the Vanguard nightclub. Captivated by Pryor's comedic prowess, Brooks saw an opportunity to collaborate. Upon meeting Richard Pryor, a connection was established, and Brooks extended an offer for him to join the cast of Your Show of Shows. Pryor's inclusion proved to be a pivotal moment for the show's trajectory. His comedic genius became instrumental in the show's success, with Pryor contributing significantly to the writing, particularly crafting most of Mongo's memorable dialogue, the Gridiron Gang. While Harvey Korman's character Hedy Lamarr faced setbacks in his attempts to dislodge Sheriff Bart from his post, another cast member, Alex Karras, enjoyed a highly successful career in a completely different arena, professional football. Karras wasn't just a notable actor, he was a formidable force on the football field, boasting an impressive 12-season stint in the NFL. During his football career, Karras achieved remarkable accolades, making it to the All-Pro team an astounding 9 times, and securing a spot on the NFL's All-Decade team in the 1960s. His prowess extended to the Pro Bowl, where he earned the honor 4 times. Karras initially gained recognition for his skills with the Detroit Lions before deciding to transition from the gridiron to the world of entertainment. After bidding farewell to the Detroit Lions, Karras embraced a new chapter as an actor. His journey in showbiz took an interesting turn when he joined the cast of Webster, showcasing his versatility both on and off the field. The franchise that never was. Andrew Bergman's contribution to the success of Blazing Saddles extended beyond the big screen. His humorous screenplay played a pivotal role in the film's acclaim. Following the movie's triumphant reception, Bergman's work took on a new life, serving as the foundation for additional content, such as the television series Black Bart. The small screen adaptation, featuring Louis Gossett Jr. in the titular role of Bart, premiered its pilot episode on April 4, 1975. Interestingly, the show continued its production even though it never made it to public viewing. The intriguing aspect behind this decision lies in the contractual provision that deemed it an official sequel. This unique circumstance allowed the show to persist in its filming endeavors despite the absence of audience exposure, creating an unusual chapter in the legacy of Blazing Saddles. Musical chairs. Mel Brooks's creative brilliance was evident in his unconventional choices, a trait showcased in Blazing Saddles. Departing from the norm, he decided to incorporate foreground music instead of the more conventional background music. In this deviation, he enlisted the expertise of one of the foremost band leaders, Count Basie. Count Basie and his band played a pivotal role, delivering a memorable rendition of the song April in Paris within the film. The decision to utilize foreground music added a distinctive touch to the movie's soundtrack, showcasing Brooks's commitment to innovative filmmaking. In another remarkable twist, Brooks not only curated the film's musical landscape, but also contributed personally to its melodies. The theme song of Blazing Saddles was a creation of Brooks himself. Adding another layer to this musical tapestry, the song found its voice in the talented vocals of Frankie Laine, underscoring the depth of Brooks's involvement in shaping the film's auditory experience. Your Name Is My Name. In crafting the antagonist for Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks penned the character of Hedy Lamarr, a villainous presence central to the film's narrative arc. However, an unforeseen challenge arose as the character's name bore an uncanny resemblance to that of a prominent actress, Hedy Lamarr, who had been under contract with MGM from the 1930s to the 1950s. The naming coincidence prompted Harvey Korman, in a lighthearted jest, to foresee a potential lawsuit. True to the prediction, Hedy Lamarr herself expressed discontent over the similarity. Despite the looming threat of legal action, Brooks and Lamarr managed to avoid a courtroom battle by reaching an out-of-court settlement. Child arrived. During the inception of the Blazing Saddles script, Mel Brooks found himself navigating the challenges of a tight financial situation, a circumstance compounded by the arrival of his son, Max. Faced with fiscal constraints, Brooks felt a pragmatic pressure to make the movie a success. Balancing financial concerns with artistic integrity, he grappled with the notion of not wanting to be perceived as merely chasing financial gains by taking on any project available. Brooks candidly admitted to feeling somewhat akin to Charles Dickens, who, in certain periods of his career, undertook projects primarily for financial reasons. Despite this, Brooks remained resolute in his determination to create a film that transcended financial considerations, aiming for a cinematic work that would be both entertaining and memorable. The Uninvited Guest. The iconic closing scene of Blazing Saddles features Sheriff Bart and the Waco Kid being pursued across the Warner Brothers backlot. The chase unfolds in a classic sequence, concluding with a deviation from the norm. As they run through the gates, breaking the suspension of disbelief, everyone else turns right, adhering to the scripted path. However, a singular individual, an unwitting passerby who had inadvertently found himself on set, continued straight ahead, oblivious to the instructions to vacate the scene. In an interesting twist of fate, Mel Brooks, the director, decided to incorporate this unplanned moment into the film. Rather than dismissing the unintentional participant, Brooks approached him, had him sign off on his unexpected appearance, and allowed him to remain in the shot. This unexpected inclusion added an authentic and humorous touch to the film's closing moments. "You're fired." Before stepping into the role of Lily von Shtupp in Blazing Saddles, Madeline Kahn had initially been cast for the film adaptation of Mame. This adaptation of the Broadway musical starred Lucille Ball and B. Arthur. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Kahn's involvement in Mame came to an abrupt end just a day before she commenced work on Blazing Saddles. The reason behind Kahn's departure from Mame was surrounded by speculation and claims made by Lucille Ball. Ball asserted that Kahn had intentionally delivered a subpar performance to secure her dismissal from Mame. According to Ball, Kahn aimed to free herself from the commitments of the film, allowing her to fully concentrate on portraying the iconic character Lily von Shtupp in Mel Brooks' comedic masterpiece. There's magic in the air on Broadway. Following the success of The Producers on Broadway, Mel Brooks found himself in discussions about adapting Blazing Saddles for the stage. While Brooks had a clear vision of how to bring the comedic brilliance of the film to the Great White Way, he grappled with concerns about the acceptance of the Risqué material in a contemporary context. Expressing his reservations, Brooks highlighted the potentially contentious nature of certain elements, particularly the use of the N-word. He candidly remarked, "It's pretty dangerous stuff using the N-word. I wouldn't shy away from it, but I don't know if I could get away with it. I got away with it then. I don't know if I could get away with it today, if I may say so myself." Mel Brooks, not one to shy away from boasting about his work, has rightfully earned numerous accolades for the uproarious comedy, Blazing Saddles. Unapologetically dismissing modesty, Brooks boldly declared that he considers it one of the funniest movies ever created. In a comparative analysis, he weighed it against the classic Some Like It Hot, expressing his viewpoint. Billy Wilder's film is extremely funny, but scene for scene, there are more laughs in my movie. While acknowledging the subjective nature of such claims, Brooks couldn't resist asserting, "It's not right for me to say so, but I really think this could be the funniest motion picture ever made." Legging it out. When Mel Brooks envisioned the character of Lily Von Shtupp for Blazing Saddles, he had Madeline Kahn in mind, recognizing her comedic prowess. However, during her audition, Brooks surprised Kahn with an unusual request. He asked to see her legs. Amused and slightly skeptical of his intentions, Kahn remarked, "Oh, you're that kind of guy." Brooks, quick to clarify, explained that the role was a satire of Marlene Dietrich, hence the need for a pair of nice legs. Understanding the context, Kahn agreed to Brooks's peculiar request, but not without a playful warning, "No touching." The choice, Pryor to Cleavon. In the initial stages of casting for Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks had his sights set on the comedic genius Richard Pryor to play the role of Sheriff Bart. Brooks held Pryor in high regard, describing him as the most blessed with talent. However, Pryor's controversial nature, marked by explicit content and struggles with substance abuse that nearly led to a tragic incident, posed a challenge for the studio. Despite Brooks's desire to have Pryor on board, the studio proposed Cleavon Little as an alternative. Upon witnessing Little's impeccable delivery of the lines and the perfect fit for the character, Brooks made the decision to cast Cleavon Little as Sheriff Bart. I can't say that, can I? In the role of Lyle, one of the antagonist's henchmen in Blazing Saddles, Burton Gilliam encountered a sensitive moment during the filming. The script included a line where Lyle would use a racial slur to address Sheriff Bart, a word that Gilliam found uncomfortable to say. Recognizing the delicate nature of the situation, Cleavon Little, portraying Sheriff Bart, understood the business aspect of the scene and granted Gilliam permission to proceed. However, Little candidly remarked, "If I thought you would say those words to me in any other situation, we'd go to Fist City, but this is all for fun. Don't worry about it." On the cutting floor. Mel Brooks, known for his boundary-pushing comedy, found himself in a creative clash with the studio while making Blazing Saddles. The studio, concerned about the film's explicit content, urged Brooks to make cuts, aiming for a more audience-friendly version. In response, Brooks made a compromise, choosing to eliminate the most explicit scene in the movie. This particular scene took place in Lily Von Shtupp's dressing room, where Sheriff Bart and Lily engage in a provocative exchange. As she extinguishes the candle, Lily asks, "Is it true what they say about you people?" Bart's witty retort, "I hate to disillusion you, ma'am, but you're sucking on my arm," added a humorous twist to the scene. While this sequence didn't make it to the final cut, its existence sheds light on the negotiations between the director's comedic vision and the studio's concerns about the film's content. Calling on the Duke. Mel Brooks, a master of parody, understood the importance of paying homage to the original works. In the case of Blazing Saddles, he decided to include the legendary Western actor John Wayne in a short but memorable scene. This decision wasn't arbitrary. It stemmed from a chance encounter between the two on the Warner Brothers lot. Upon meeting, John Wayne informed Mel Brooks that he had heard about his movie. Seizing the opportunity, Brooks crafted a brief segment for Wayne, hoping to incorporate the iconic actor into the film. However, when Brooks presented the idea to Wayne, the response was, "Nah, I can't do a movie like that, but I'll be first in line to see it." Quid pro quo. The iconic Gene Wilder, known for his comedic brilliance, initially joined forces with Mel Brooks on the film The Producers. Their collaboration proved successful, and when Brooks decided to cast Wilder in Blazing Saddles, an interesting negotiation unfolded. Wilder proposed a deal. He would agree to appear in Mel's film if Brooks would review a script he had been working on and transform it into a movie. Mel, recognizing the potential, accepted the terms. Little did they know that this script would evolve into the Oscar-nominated film, Young Frankenstein. Who Passed Gas? Mel Brooks, renowned for his distinctive brand of humor, often characterized by slapstick elements, has a penchant for incorporating physical comedy into his works. This is evident not only in scenes where characters engage in classic pratfalls, but also in a unique twist he introduced in Blazing Saddles. In addition to traditional slapstick, Brooks boldly ventured into uncharted comedic territory by including farting sounds in the film. This unconventional move became particularly prominent in a classic scene that revolves around the stereotype of cowboys indulging in baked beans and coffee around a campfire. Mel's foresight led him to predict that the cowboys' indulgence would inevitably result in audible stomach gurgles, and true to his comedic genius, he brought this amusing scenario to life on the silver screen. Musical half-truths. In the intricate world of filmmaking, where collaboration between director and composer is paramount, Mel Brooks demonstrated his astuteness in navigating the creative process. When working with the accomplished composer Frankie Laine on the score for Blazing Saddles, Brooks found himself faced with a delicate situation. Laine, a veteran singer and songwriter with an illustrious career spanning an impressive 75 years, initially approached the Western genre with a dramatic perspective. Unbeknownst to Laine, Mel Brooks, the visionary director, harbored concerns that disclosing the film's comedic nature might influence the composition. To maintain the authentic essence of the Western genre, Brooks chose not to divulge the comedic twist to Laine, showcasing the director's strategic approach to collaboration and his commitment to preserving the integrity of the film's musical composition. Hidden references. Mel Brooks approached the creation of the Blazing Saddles script with meticulous consideration for each word. Every element was crafted with a purpose, aiming to elicit laughter, evoke emotions, or contribute meaningfully to the storyline. An illustrative instance of this precision is evident in the scene where Mongo makes his entrance into town on horseback. A Mexican character exclaims, "Mongo, Santa Maria!" This clever inclusion is a deliberate reference to Mongo Santa Maria, a renowned Cuban jazz musician, skillfully inserted by Brooks for its musical resonance and thematic relevance. A Mel Brooks sing-along. In a pivotal scene near the end of the film, when Hedy Lamarr and his posse approach the fabricated town, arranged by the sheriff and Waco Kid, a momentary shift occurs in the camera focus. Instead of following Lamarr's entry, the scene briefly transitions to Lily von Stupp and a group of German soldiers joyfully singing a drinking song. Interestingly, this particular drinking song mirrors the one performed by Gene Wilder, Zero Mostel, and Kenneth Mars in The Producers. A chocolate-covered treat for life. In the realm of filmmaking, product placement holds significant sway, as demonstrated in a particular scene where Harvey Korman's character pauses to purchase concessions at the conclusion of the movie. Amidst the tumultuous events, he specifically opts for a box of Raisinets. Mel Brooks candidly acknowledged in 1975, during an interview with Playboy magazine, that this inclusion of Raisinets in Blazing Saddles had a tangible impact on the product's sales. He humorously revealed, "We mentioned Raisinets in Blazing Saddles, and now the company sends me a gross of them every month, a gross of Raisinets," shouted out loud. Crafting the screenplay for Blazing Saddles proved to be no walk in the park, as creative disagreements and a cacophony of voices characterized the writing process. Mel Brooks humorously reflected, "Blazing Saddles was more or less written in the middle of a drunken fistfight. There were 5 of us, all yelling loudly for our ideas to be put into the movie." In the midst of this spirited collaboration, Brooks, not only the loudest voice but also wielding authority as the director, faced the challenging task of sifting through the chaos to decide what elements would make the cut and what would be left on the cutting room floor. The collaborative process, though tumultuous, ultimately contributed to the film's unique and groundbreaking humor, the Waco casting disaster. The process of casting the legendary role of the Waco Kid in Blazing Saddles was not a straightforward affair, Despite the iconic portrayal by Gene Wilder, it's intriguing to imagine the role in the hands of someone else. Mel Brooks, the director, originally extended the offer to various actors, including none other than Johnny Carson, the renowned late-night television host. Carson, however, declined the opportunity. Subsequently, the role found its way to Gig Young. While Young was slated to embody the inebriated Waco Kid on screen, his personal struggles with alcoholism surfaced during production, impacting his performance. This led to Young being replaced by the irrepressible Gene Wilder, who went on to deliver a memorable performance that has become an integral part of the film's comedic legacy. John Wayne Politelli declined to appear in the movie. In an effort to infuse blazing saddles with a touch of Western authenticity, Mel Brooks sought the involvement of none other than John Wayne, the genre's most iconic figure. Brooks, understanding Wayne's significance, approached him to read the script. Despite finding the content humorous, the Duke ultimately decided against joining the cast, expressing concerns about potential ramifications for his career. Nevertheless, Wayne, acknowledging the comedic potential, offered a vote of confidence, declaring, "I'll be the first one in line to see it, fart art." Much like Mel Brooks meticulously evaluated each word and reference in his screenplay, he demonstrated a deliberate touch when incorporating multiple fart references into the film. The character Governor Le Pétomane, portrayed by Brooks, bore a name inspired by a real-life flatulence artist named Joseph Pujol, who performed under the stage name Le Pétoman. Pujol, a French entertainer, possessed a remarkable ability to produce gas on command, owing to his powerful abdominal muscles. Delving into the linguistic nuances, Peter translates to fart in French, and the main suffix playfully designates him as a fart maniac. Not in the script. While Blazing Saddles gained legendary status for its clever and uproariously written lines, one particular remark resonated as iconic. As the townspeople directed their animosity towards Bart, the Waco Kid offered consolation with a memorable line. "You've got to remember that these are just simple farmers. These are people of the land, the common clay of the New West. You know, morons." What made this line truly stand out was the improvised addition at the end. You know, morons. This spontaneous touch led to Cleavon Little, who portrayed Bart, genuinely breaking into laughter on set. It's considered one of the greatest American comedies of all time. In 2000, the American Film Institute bestowed the honor of ranking Blazing Saddles as the 6th funniest movie of all time on its list of the 100 funniest movies of all time, recognized as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The film earned a place in the National Film Registry 6 years later, ensuring its preservation for future generations. Adding to its accolades, former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg declared Blazing Saddles as his all-time favorite film. Renowned film critic Roger Ebert further contributed to its acclaim, awarding the movie a perfect 4-star rating. Ebert characterized it as a crazed grab bag of a movie that does everything to keep us laughing, except hit us over the head with a rubber chicken. Acknowledging its unconventional structure, he quipped, "But of course, what does that matter when Alex Karras is knocking a horse cold with a right sock to the jaw?"